I would like to know, why is it so hard for kids to talk to their parents? Even though you know that we love you and we care about you and we would do anything for you, why is it so hard for you to talk to us?
Why do lightning bugs glow?
What is your relationship to living in the present, carrying the past, or do you? And how far into the future in this moment are you projecting yourself?
Why so many gun violence in Charleston?
What do you envision the world that you're going to be moving into to be? What do you envision 25 years from now? And what are you willing to do to make that vision come true?
What do you feel about what's happening in our political society right now? What do you feel about the differences between Republicans and Democrats? If it is something that is affecting you and that you're taking in and you're feeling, what are the next steps? What do you think that you can do?
How has our political conversation impacted how you feel about being a citizen of the United States? Or alternatively, or a citizen of the world? Does the negative conversation impact you? And what do you see as your contribution to changing that conversation?
What will you do to take control of your future, of your life? And what will you do to redefine your success?
How will you carry on tradition?
If you could do or be anything in the world, what would you do or be?
Do you know what you want to do or be?
What do you think you're going to be doing 10 years from now?
What is your passion? What is your joy? How do you let your passion and your joy lead you?
What do you want your grandkids to remember about you?
What is the greatest gift that you would like to leave your parents before they pass?
What does unconditional love mean to you?
What is the gift of love that you're giving yourself every day and therefore loving others?
What action or what thing do you go to that makes you the happiest?
What would you like to know about your parents growing up?
Do you really know what your parents' lives were like before you were born and became the center of their universe?
What's the hardest thing for you about navigating the world of social media?
How to get my cell phone to work better. Right now it keeps telling me that everything is almost full, and I'd love to get rid of a bunch of stuff on there that I don't know what it is, and I don't really want it, but Google won't let me do that. So I would elicit some help, please.
What is the last selfless thing that you did? I could also phrase it as, how do you balance between when you do things for yourself and when you do things for someone else?
What do you want to achieve in life?
Why do young people listen to their peers? And why do they always ask to go and sleep at a friend's house? Whatever a child wants to know or learn, why don't you ask your parents who has been through that path before?
And I want to ask you, what is the most important thing in your life right now? And what are you doing in order to preserve that thing?
Are you afraid? And you can take this question anywhere you want to go, but are you afraid of what's happening amongst your own peer group? Are you afraid to dance with each other? Are you afraid to stand up in front of a group of people and be yourself? Are you afraid of what's happening in our society? Are you afraid for your life in any particular situation or circumstance? And if you are afraid, why? And what are you going to do about it?
If you won the lottery and there was $200 million in the lottery, that you just won, what would be the first 3 things that you would do?
What will you do with your life? Because your life is important and it is inherently valuable. And it is your choice to do whatever it is that you want to do with your life. And I want to know, what will you choose to do with your life? Because you're young and you have your whole life ahead of you. So choose something to do and to dedicate yourself to. And so what would that be?
How do you want to change your community? In your space, in your schools, in your neighborhoods? Let us know.
What would your grandmother be proud of?
What are your expectations of the world? And how adjustable, how flexible are you in your expectations?
How do you think the world is going to change in the next 15 years?
What brings you joy? What makes you happy?
What gives you energy? What inspires you?
What do you like to make with your hands?
And I'd like to know, what is your favorite form of entertainment?
I'm 32 years old, and a question I have for you as a teenager is, what is your favorite anime show?
I would love to know how you can do your homework in the middle of all the crazy stuff that is happening around you.
What's your favorite thing about the world of social media? That's it.
Can you stop and think about when it's time to make art or make music or make something yourself, and when it's time to enjoy what others have made, so that you distinguish in your mind between being a consumer of culture and a culture maker?
If there was an art that you could learn, what would that be and why?
Do you realize that at your age, your voice is powerful in a way that's unique to your age? And once you move beyond being a teenager, you will not have that same type of power ever again.
What brings you hope? And what do you need from your parents' generation and above in order to help you get to that place of hope?
What seems to you most peculiar about what you see the older generation, the generation just older than you, your parents' generation doing? What seems like, why do they do that?
What do you really want from your parents, and what do you think you need from your parents? And is it the same thing? Or is it really two different things if you come right down to it and admit it?
Do you need your mom? Do you miss your mom? And so I know that teenagers start needing more space on their own and being independent, but can you still be a little kid sometimes and let your mom know when you need her to be your mom and your mommy and be there for you, and still be independent and becoming your own person, but maybe letting her know if you still need her to be your mom and being a little kid again and having her there for you?
Essentially, what would you like to be asked? I have daughters, and I'm always asking them questions, but usually they're questions that make me feel sure that they're safe. And I wonder what they would like me to know about them. So my question is to you is, if you could answer 3 questions to tell about yourselves, what would they be?
Who is an elder that you can talk to? Is it one of your parents? Is it a teacher? Is it a grandparent? Who is it?
I probably have way too many questions. My other question, one of my other questions to the teens, I feel like I was not a teen that long ago. I feel like it feels like it was just a few days ago, but when it comes to like bullying and stuff in schools, what is your position on that? How do you feel about that? Do you partake in it? Do you even sideline partake in it? Do you laugh when other people do stuff? I used to have, when I was in school, people called me Whoopi and Medusa and Donkey Lips, and there were those people who just didn't say anything, but they stood beside and they laughed. This is high school. They laughed and they, they condoned it. They silently condoned, because silence is condoning. So my question is definitely, how do you condone things that are happening around you that you don't necessarily like to see? Do you speak up, or do you just let it happen? And if you let it happen, why? If you think it's wrong or bad, why would you let it happen around you?
I'd like to ask you, what's your guiding principle on how you treat other people?
What do you think is the most pressing issue of your generation?
How do you know who you want to be physically, sexually intimate with? And if you are physically, sexually intimate with someone, how do you communicate about moments that are good and moments that are not good in that physical relationship?
Where do you see yourself in, say, 20 years? And what are 2 points on the way to that place? Where do you see yourself in 2 different points on your way to where you see yourself in 20 years?
If you are in a sexual relationship with someone, how do you communicate good touch and bad touch with that person?
Young people, I'd like to know, what do you want from adults? What can we do to help you become successful in your future?
Hey, I'm so glad you're looking at this video and thinking about questions. So I have a question for you. What's next?